Daytona Speed Weeks continues here in the final season of the Snickers Cup Series at Daytona International Speedway. Welcome everybody here as we get ready for the continuation of qualifying for the Sprint Unlimited. Today it is qualifying day for the final Sprint Unlimited of the Snickers Cup Series, and it's going to be a very interesting day to be sure. The first time ever that these drivers will be qualifying in a brand new format to be used one time only. I'm Seth Cole, and I'm being joined in the booth by a driver that is actually going to be doing that new format, and that is the driver that will actually be rolling off first on the starting grid for qualifying order here today, and that's Michael Norman. Michael, thanks for being here with me.
Absolutely no problem, man. I incredibly love Daytona, so with it being my home racetrack, I love coming here.
Now, one thing that you've said to me is that you really want to win the Daytona 500, but how about winning the Sprint Unlimited? I know that there's no points on the line, so that kind of ups the ante as far as what kind of great racing we're going to see. I mean, you've never won the Sprint Unlimited before. How would it be for you to be able to win that here in the final season of Snickers?
Well, with this being my 6th year in the Snickers Cup Series, I have not yet won the Sprint Unlimited, and with it being a non-points race, I really want to win it, because this it's like a prestigious event, because it may not be worth any points, but it still pays $50,000 to the winner, and all that I can use for my race team and such like that. And but I'm so glad that I'm here and in the Sprint Unlimited, because this is a good test session for those in it. It's a good test session for the Daytona 500 to see how your car could react in the draft. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to, is testing out my car in the draft.
All right, so what's going to be happening here will be obviously single car runs, and we're going to get in a moment to talking about what this new format is that these drivers will and yourself will have to kind of use in order to qualify for the best spot in the Sprint Unlimited. But one thing I got to ask you is, well, actually two things, but I'll ask you this first thing. As far as qualifying for the Sprint Unlimited, where in that kind of event is it best to be? Because I've heard a lot of people say in the 500 it's best to start up front, it's best to start at the back, but at a non-points event where basically just pride and purse is on the line, where's the best place to start, and what are you aiming for in your qualifying run as far as a starting position for this one?
Well, in terms of aiming for anything, I'm just going out there and just trying to do my best to not make any mistakes. Because to me, it doesn't matter where you qualify. Because at super speedways, it only matters where you finish. You can qualify dead last and within 2 laps be at the front. So, and that all depends on how your car is. So I'm just going to go out there and try to get the best run I possibly can. I'm not really shooting for the pole or anything like that. Just try to go out there and make things as smooth as possible.
Now, during the practice session and here in qualifying, as we can see, it is bright and sunny out, nice warm temperatures, but the Sprint Unlimited is going to be run under the lights. Is there anything that you were able to learn from the practice session and possibly here during the qualifying session that you'll be able to apply in the Sprint Unlimited?
It'll just be able to know how fast and how slick the racing surface will be. Because at Daytona, it's still like a handling racetrack, unlike Talladega where it's just position-wise. Daytona, you still got to deal with the handling of your race car, and it'll be a very good test tonight to see exactly what the handling will be on this number 3 car.
All right, so Michael Norman going to be rolling off first on the qualifying order grid. I know you got to get down there, get suited up, so good luck, buddy, and we'll see you in just a little bit. After your qualifying run, he'll be back up here joining me in the booth to finish out commentating this qualifying event, so good luck.
All right, thank you so much, man. I'll see you here in a bit.
All right, so as Michael heads down to his car, we are going to be showing you the rules on how to qualify for this event. Now, this is an entirely different format than we've ever done before in qualifying sessions, and it's the only time that we'll be using it here during Season 10. What's going to happen is these drivers are going to be rolling off of pit road from the first pit stall. They will then make it around the racetrack one circuit, but out of turn 4 they'll be coming down pit road with no pit speed. They can come down as fast as they want. Time will begin when they hit the start-finish line, the yellow line on pit road. They must pull into their pit stall, complete a 4-tire stop, then circuit back around to the start-finish line. That is how their lap time is going to be counted. However, there are a couple of ways that you can be disqualified. One way is if you completely miss the commitment cone coming to pit road. A second way is if you completely overslide your pit box and you are not able to be serviced. You are not able to circuit back around because it would be placing you at the back anyway with a really long lap time, so that would count as a disqualification as well. Another thing these drivers are going to have to watch out for as well is we've seen during testing session and during the practice session yesterday, drivers will flat spot the tires coming onto pit road. If you flat spot any of your front tires, it's going to take that jack man an awfully long time to get his jack underneath your car for them to be able to change those tires, and it's going to cost you a big portion of lap time as well. And the driver that ends up having the fastest circuit around after a 4-tire stop, they will be starting on the pole for the Sprint Unlimited. So that's how it's going to basically go down. The way that the qualifying session was set up was based off of the practice session yesterday. The slowest in practice will go first. That was Michael Norman. The fastest in practice being Ryan Acosta. He'll roll off from last. So Ryan Acosta going to get the benefit of being able to watch the others out on track to see what he's going to be able to do to try and get himself on the front row for this Sprint Unlimited. So with that being said, we're going to go down trackside now as Michael Norman's ready to head onto the track. So there's Michael Norman hitting the back straightaway. Lap time will begin when he crosses the start-finish line on pit road. Michael Norman out of Michael Norman Motorsports made his debut back in Season 4 and has been in the series ever since. He was 94th in his first season in Snickers Cup, 39th in Season 5, 21st in Season 6, 20th in Season 7, but the last 2 seasons, 5th and 3rd, making the chase in both years, as he'll try and make his 3rd straight chase here in Season 10. Whoa, sliding onto pit road there. And now the lap time will begin as he crosses the start-finish line. Has to make it into his pit box. And looks like he's going to go very nicely into his pit stall there. Now the time will be ticking as far as the pit time. Lap time is on the bottom. The pit time is on the top. As the crew goes around now to the left side, they have to complete the entire 4-tire stop. If they do a 2-tire stop, then that would result in a disqualification. And now Norman off pit road. It's got to be pretty difficult for Michael Norman because he's not able to really watch anybody here during this qualifying session, see what they're doing. They're going to all be kind of making a case study of his lap rather than the other way around. So Michael Norman going to kind of be the test case here, and he'll be the one to set the standard for these drivers. One thing that I did notice is that Michael Norman getting onto pit road there was going somewhere around 160 miles per hour when he hit the commitment line, and in the practice session, the drivers, when they were testing it out, they were only going about 140 when they hit that commitment line. So apparently they are deciding to up the ante a little. And we saw Michael Norman sliding onto pit road. So apparently there is a lot of heat out there on the track, and it's very slick conditions. So that'll be something for these drivers to have to deal with here during this qualifying session as well. As Norman makes his way out of 4, just got to make it down to the start-finish line, and that will complete his lap time. Looks like it's going to be somewhere right around the 125.5 mark, and we'll wait for the official scoring. A 125.317 will be the set mark by Michael Norman. And we'll have to see how that puts him in relation to the other 30 drivers that are still yet to go. You'll look on the left of your screen. You will see it will show who is where as far as the live qualifying results. Next up is going to be Jessica Shelton, who actually was a former teammate of Michael Norman's at one point, but now moving over to Retro Racing Enterprises. A one-off ride in the 94, as she'll be running the 25 full-time this season. But the Mega Man Chevrolet is on track here, and Shelton now getting ready to come to pit road. Jessica Shelton been in this series since Season 6, when she came in as Deanna Shelton. And now her lap time will begin as she hits the start-finish line. Gonna try and see if she can beat Michael Norman's lap time. Slid the tires quite a bit through that corner. And I think she overshot her pit box. She did. She overshot it just a bit there. Has to back it up, and now they can start servicing the car. That's going to cost her a lot of valuable time, and that might definitely put her behind Michael Norman as far as lap times here. So a tough, costly break there for Jessica Shelton. That, again, the slick track conditions, that is concrete right there, folks, those pit boxes. That is not the regular racing asphalt that these drivers go around on the racetrack. So there's much less grip for those drivers to be able to work with. And if they slide the tires and lock up the brakes, that car's going to go a few more feet further than they expected to. So Shelton now just going to have to try and ride it out and see if she can come away with at least a decent lap time. Norman with a 125. Shelton, I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to be somewhere around the 126, maybe 127 range, as she lost a couple of seconds with overshooting her pit box there. And that's another thing that these drivers have to watch out for, too, is, you know, they can flat spot it getting onto pit road as long as the tire does not go down on them. They are going to get 4-tire stop anyway, so they got fresh Goodyears to be able to make the rest of their circuit around. But they got to be careful as far as their tires when they get into their pit box. That way they don't cause problems for their pit crew trying to make a very speedy 4-tire stop. As Shelton now comes down, already hitting 126. This will not be faster than Michael Norman's time. Official time for Jessica Shelton, a 128.725. And that will put her, at the current moment on a 2 drivers, second on the speed charts, well off Michael Norman's time. And we got Michael Norman back in the booth here. Hi there, Michael.
Hey, what's up, Seth? I think there's something wrong with my monitor here. It's just showing a black screen here.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. We might be able to fix that.
There we go.
All right. So next up, Nathan Hudson in the 6, running a British touring car kind of scheme on his Mercedes-Benz. His Mercedes comes back for a second season. And Hudson now going to try and see if he can beat the standard Michael Norman set. Michael, I got to ask you, as we're watching Hudson's stop here, I mean, looked like much different track conditions than yesterday. How was it for you there?
It was a pretty slick racetrack, but I managed to get on at a pretty decent amount of speed here, and being able to slow down the car, which is always a hassle. But it was a pretty smooth drive, so I'm pretty glad. I'm happy with my time, and wherever it gets me, it gets me.
All right, looks like Nathan Hudson will be in a bit of trouble of trying to beat your lap time, as he just slid in and stopped too early, had to move up to the pit board in order to get his car serviced. And one thing I noticed, Michael, is that you didn't seem to be overly aggressive getting to your pit box. You made sure that you hit the pit board and that you did not have it overshoot or come up just short. So apparently you're kind of setting the standard here now that if people are going to beat you, they've got to do something much different, and they have to kind of take some risks here in order to be able to beat your lap time.
Yeah, that's like I said. I just went out there to try to get a really smooth really smooth lap. So I'm glad I was able to do that, and we'll see where it gets me.
I forgot to mention that Nathan Hudson made his debut in the Snickers Cup Series in Season 8. He had a victory that season, finished 13th in the overall standings. Last season, not as lucky, 55th in the points. And this time going to be about a 128 high, maybe, 129 low, 129.213. So both Nathan Hudson and Jessica Shelton showing that those mistakes on pit road are really going to cost you a chance at a fast lap time. Is getting ready now for entry number 4 to come out, and that's going to be Anthony McCrory in the 61, running the Mountain Dew colors on his Kyotech Audi. And McCrory is one of 2 drivers who has been in this series ever since it started, all the way back, race 1, season 1. The other one's Sean Gallagher, but he's not in the Sprint Unlimited. But McCrory, he has had quite an interesting career here, as he'll head down pit road. Lap time begins now. He was 15th in Season 1, 9th in Season 2, 30th in Season 3, 83rd in Season 4. Season 5, he was 7th. Season 6, he was 8th. Season 7, he was 5th. But then the last 2 seasons, 26th in Season 8 and 107th in Season 9.
But yeah, it's just, you know, since he switched to Audi, he's had good luck and bad luck. So I guess it's just the season that he's going to have to hope and work really hard on to see if he can possibly win this championship.
Looked like he had a nice pit stop there. I think he hit his marks and there were no mistakes on that pit stop. So maybe competition to try and knock Michael Norman off the pole position. But you know, McCrory had 1 win last season. That came at Darlington, and he loves this racetrack. Anthony McCrory, more known of a road racer, but I remember back, I'm not sure what season exactly it was. Might have been Season 4, if I remember correctly. It was the second Daytona race, and McCrory was the only one who had enough fuel to get to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I know that McCrory's very good at road racing. I mean, even in road races he's been in with with me and stuff like that, he's won like it's all except for Sonoma. So he's really, really good when it comes to road course racing.
Looks like he's going to be pretty good on this qualifying lap, too. Looks like he's going to hit just around under the high 123s. Wait for the official lap count. Oh, low 124. 124.251. And that's going to beat Michael Norman's lap.
Good run by McCurry. He came in pretty fast on pit road as well.
He did. I did notice that too. He didn't play as much with the brake. One thing I've noticed too, though, is if they don't play enough with the brake, they're going to overshoot their pit box. If they play too much, that's when especially the right front becomes so hot that it just blows out. As we look now at Trent Dunham, we know his love for Daytona, and we'll see what he can do here in a Tweenix Racing Chevrolet. I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but Trent Dunham finished out his final Snickers Cup Series season with Tweenix Racing, and it's like he's going to get onto pit road pretty well there. Looked like maybe a little slower than McCrory, but he hit his mark as well.
Yeah, he hit his mark. He's good. This is what you got to do. Well-known racers, just like Trent Dunham, myself, and McCurry, they know how to get on pit road, and they know, especially even on full speed, because we always, us drivers, we love to have fun with that. we like to fly down pit road sometimes, but it all comes down to how well you can brake and how well your timing is to where you don't overshoot or undershoot your pit stall.
Now I can ask you, because you've already run your qualifying session, but where were you looking at on pit road to be, the starting point for your braking points?
Actually, my braking point to go down to pit road was right at the start-finish line.
Oh, okay, so just
a
about
little
halfway
bit
down pit road.
Yep.
All right.
Remember, these, unlike Formula One cars, these cars don't stop on a dime.
Yeah.
So you're trying your best not to slide your tires either, because that's just not going to slow you down.
I noticed that the slick conditions of this track also make it a little bit more difficult to actually get onto pit road. You almost seem to wheel slide it coming down onto pit road there on your lap.
Yeah, probably just a little bit, but like I said, it's hard to kind of get straight down from 100, from your own at least 160 straight down to 0 in an allotted time.
So 125.133 puts Trent Dunham second fastest on the board. And that's going to bring up the 11 of Kyle Sosnowski. Now Sosnowski, it's been a while since we've seen him in a Snickers Cup Series car. Sosnowski made his debut back in Season 4. He also ran in Season 5 and 6, but we haven't seen him since. And whoa, a little slide there onto pit road, and looks like he may get down here to his pit stall. And it looks like he's gonna, yeah, he hit his mark right on the pit board, so now the crew will go to work here. One thing I gotta ask you too, Michael, is, it's not just on the drivers here for this particular lap time, it's on the pit crew too to be able to give their driver a fast stop, so that's a lot of pressure for those guys.
Yeah, and it's just like in the All-Star race, when you qualify for the All-Star race, it's pretty much the exact same thing. So it's now, instead of one time a year where the pit crew is counted for qualifying, it's twice.
Kyle Sosnowski driving in the 11 for this one-off race for Gibbs Waltrip Mayonnaise race. And an interesting thing, too, talking about pit crews, is a number of these drivers that are in one-off events here, like Sosnowski, are having to borrow pit crews from other teams. Sosnowski actually borrowing the old crew that was servicing Nilo Belvin last season when he drove the 18. So that's another thing that some of these teams had to do when they took on these drivers, is they had to go out, find them some pit crews to be able to service them for this race.
Yeah. Like me, I've kept the same pit crew ever since I started Michael Norman Motorsports, and they've never let me down, so.
And Sosnowski crosses the line. This is going to be a 124.479. That's going to put him just ahead of Trent Dunham. And now out of 6 drivers, McCrory and Sosnowski would hold the front row. Now I know it took you a little bit of time getting up here. I was wondering, did you give any advice to your teammates? One we see right now, Dougie Shears in the 21, also coming up in a little bit, Bob Jones in the 27. Any advice to them on what to do here, or did you just let them doing their own thing?
I passed Shears on the way up here. He asked me what I did. I said, just to try to get all that you can coming down to pit road, and don't second guess yourself. Whatever you have to judge, you just do it.
Dougie Shears, he's raced 7 of the 9 seasons here in the Snickers Cup Series. Oh, he just flat spotted the left front.
Yeah, costly mistake there by Shears.
Yep, that's just using too much brake getting here onto onto pit road. One thing about, especially restrictor plate setups, the brake bias is super, super hard on these drivers on their attempt to get to pit road. They usually slow on the jack as they have to try and fit the jack underneath a car that is literally almost on the ground. They do get the car serviced, and Dougie Shears is back down and away. But Dougie Shears, kind of looking for some redemption here this season, was absolutely ecstatic when the Four Horsemen got back together at Michael Norman Motorsports. You guys had a lot of success, as I recall, back in Season 8.
Yes, we had that's the season where Shears almost went to victory lane at Rockingham but got screwed over by a lapped car.
Yeah, I remember that.
And as you can tell, he at this moment, I don't want to say because I still have my headset for my team and stuff. He is not too ecstatic on the radio, but it is what it is when you qualify. So you just got to make the best of it.
And it is Daytona. It's a kind of a track where if you do start at the back, there's plenty of time to recover when you get into the race mode, especially when you're in the draft and everything. But, this is, I guess, just a chance for drivers to kind of show what they got here for the preseason. Is 129.306 for Dougie Shears. That's the slowest lap so far. And, again, like we said, pit road mistakes just cost you a lot of valuable seconds of lap times. As here's Dylan Young back in the White Deuce this season. Dylan Young going to be in a usual-looking scheme of Monster Energy for 500, but running the Brad Keselowski Miller Lite scheme here for the Sprint Unlimited.
Bit of a shout-out to Brad Keselowski there.
Yep. Dylan Young been in this series since Season 3. In his very first season, finished 11th in the point standings. Best finish in the standings was 7th, and that was in Season 8. As he'll pull into his pit stall. Looked like a pretty good pit stall there.
Very
interesting.
Good.
Yeah, he actually look at how he pulled into his pit stall. He pulled out just a little bit further away from the pit wall.
But you see, that also can throw off your pit crew as well.
Good point.
If you don't do it perfectly, it'll throw off your pit crew and make your pit stop a little slower.
Yeah, I've been
and
interested.
Also, I'm noticing, unlike Nathan Hudson, a lot of these drivers, when they come out of pit road, they come straight up.
Yeah, that's one thing they have been allowed to do. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, they are allowed. They don't have to use the access road. They are allowed to come right back up onto the racetrack. Like I said, basically the only two rules they have to follow that results in no doesn't result in a disqualification is they've got to make it past the commitment cone coming onto pit road, and they have to make it into their pit stall and not overshoot it completely. And if they do overshoot it, they got to be overshot just enough that they're able to back up and at least still be serviced. So, yeah, like you saw right there, Dylan Young coming right back on the track. They are allowed to do that.
Yeah. It just makes it also tricky.
Yeah.
Something like this has never been done before on a super speedway.
Nope, never has before, and more than likely never will be again here in NNSCRA. So, kind of a one-and-done thing here. A little treat for the fans and these drivers is Dylan Young.
Probably a good 122, 123.
123.131. Top of the board for Dylan Young. That was a pretty fast lap time.
Yes, it was.
And next up's going to be Stephen Pollard III. The Volkswagen Jetta makes its return to the Snickers Cup Series for Stephen Pollard Racing. Now, Stephen last season did not have the best of runs. He was 135th out of 126 drivers, so not the best of seasons for him. This is actually, amazingly enough, only his third full-time season in Snickers Cup. He made his debut back in Season 6, where he finished 41st in the point standings. Pulls into his pit stall. That actually looked like he got on a pit road pretty nicely, too.
Yeah, well, they're pretty good. If you want to keep up NNSCRA stats, if you want to say it, he's a champion in his own right, but may not be in the Snickers Cup Series, but he is a champion in NNSCRA, like officiating, if you want to call it that way.
Yes, indeed.
But Stephen Pollard, he knows how to get it done when needs to be. So Pollard, I'm really looking forward to Pollard this season, just to see what he'll show for Season 10.
And, also, I'm giving Snickers Cup Series stats, but Steve Pollard also ran some Oreo Truck Series events, and if I'm not mistaken, he was a former chaser in the Oreo Truck Series. I can't remember if it was Season 6 or not when that was, but he was a former chaser in the Oreo Truck Series. So, yeah, he hasn't had the best of success here in Snickers Cup, but that doesn't mean he hasn't had success in other NSCRA series.
Yeah, and I think I think it might be his brother Oriole Pollard is currently a title contender in the Oriole Truck Series for season 9 still.
That is correct.
So odd talking about that doing a sprint unlimited for season 10, but
Yeah, I know. It is. But anyway, coming down to the line here, see if he can beat a 123. Not going to be able to do it. About a 124 and a half, it looks like. 124.821 for Stephen Pollard. That will put him 4th on the board, just ahead of Trent Dunn, just after Kyle Sosnowski. Pretty decent lap time there for Steve Pollard. I noticed that the average pit stop time when these drivers were testing in practice was somewhere around the 124. So if you can hit 124, you've got yourself a solid lap time. If you hit 123s though, like Dylan Young, I think you got a little something special there.
yeah, I completely agree with that one.
Kyle Matthews in the 24, the only driver for Hendrick Dowling Motorsports to win last season, hitting the pit lane now. He kind of wheel slid a little coming on to pit road, but going to make his way down into his pit stall. That was a little slow there coming to his pit stall. It looks like he's not going to stop far enough ahead. Had to move up a little bit more, so that's going to cost him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cost that 24. I'm noticing our scoreboard here, unless it's just the way that it looks. Did it update? Yeah, it did. Okay, never mind.
Yep, it did.
Sorry, it's my monitor's blurrier than stuff, so
Yep.
I'll take offense to that. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Skype. Anyway.
No, it's not Skype. It's our monitor. We're up here in the booth.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
This guy talking about Skype.
Yeah, this race brought to you by Skype. Sorry, we had to give rights where it is. Anyway, Kyle Matthews made his debut in Snickers Cup back in Season 6, was 34th in that season. Then 2 seasons of 18th, and then last season, like I said, only 1 win. The only win for Hendrick Dowling Motorsports. It was 87th in the point standings. So Kyle Matthews doesn't look like he's going to have a very good lap time here either, because he's only on the back straightaway and already up to 1 minute 6 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be the best. He took quite a long time.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting here because, you know, a lot of these drivers coming out after some other earlier ones, and I'm trying to figure out, is it that they're trying to do something a little bit different to get a faster lap time than the drivers ahead of them, or just that they're not used to this kind of qualifying format? Oh, looks like Michael. Go ahead.
No, I'm here. It's just that they're not used to this style format on the super speedway, so that's what makes this is going to make this interesting. As it looks like, is that McLeod?
Nope, Dylan Pote.
Dylan Pote, that's what I thought.
The AccuDoc Solutions, or AccuDoc, I guess it is. Solutions, number 31, Dylan Pote. Last season, the only driver out of Tweenix Racing who did not find victory lane. He hasn't won since Dover of Season 8. He'll come down here, one of several Tweenix Racing drivers that are in this Sprint Unlimited event.
I'm pretty sure that this was also Dylan Pote's last official season.
Oh!
And Pote, he has to back up or something because he looked like he drug some of his pit crew with him too.
I think the left front just blew out on that car. He looked like he was going to come in and kind of arc it into pit road.
Yeah, it
and it was pit stall, and it just blew up.
Not the engine, the tire.
Right. Yeah, if the engine blew up, by the way, that's a disqualification, but yeah.
You know, during my whole time of practice, I'm surprised that coming down the pit road, no one's lost it, spun out or anything like that. We haven't seen any backup cars, I don't think, so far.
Nope, we haven't. Nope, these drivers have done pretty well. We've seen a couple of drivers do a little bit of sliding coming onto pit road, but they've done a nice job of holding a pretty wheel and not wrecking the thing. Because, yeah, if they wrecked, they'd probably have to go to a backup car, and their lap time wouldn't matter what it is. It's out the window. And Pote, it's like his lap time running pretty similar to what we just saw Kyle Matthews run there. So I don't think Pote's going to be any challenge for the front row.
To get a good lap, you have to be in turns 3 and 4 by the time you hit 1 minute.
Right. Pretty much do what Dylan Young was able to do. As Pote comes down to the line. Pote, by the way, made his debut back in Season 3. Best finish in the series was 2nd in Season 8 at a 130.391. That's just a little bit faster than what Kyle Matthews ran, so...
I was going to say, I was just about to say, looks like we're going to have one Dylan at the front and one Dylan at the back.
Yeah, looks like it. And here comes your other teammate, Bob Jones in the 27, who, by the way, was a former winner of this event, the Sprint Unlimited.
In the very first season he drove for Michael Norman Motorsports, he put that 27 in victory lane here.
That's right. He also, if I'm not mistaken, ended up winning his very first career race in his rookie season. And I'm trying to remember where... Derek Motordome, I believe, was that track. As Bob pulls into his pit stall here. Oh, nope, too far back. Had to move up a little bit. Now he's hit the pit board.
It might not be as slow as Poteet or Matthews is, but he did make one little mistake.
Bob Jones debuted in Season 7, where he finished 8th in the point standings. And then the past 2 seasons, 29th, and last season, 63rd in points. So Bob Jones going to try and step it up here in Season 10. One thing about Bob Jones, too, that not many drivers that are here in the Snickers Cup Series did was Bob Jones actually went through the system of running a season in Oreo, then he ran the next season in Mobile, and then he made his debut in Snickers. Not many drivers have gone up through the ranks of the 3 NNSCRA series before they decided to make their Snickers Cup Series debut. A lot of them, they jumped into all 3 series. But Bob Jones, he's worked his way up through the ranks, and I think that's been a big part of why Bob Jones has really taken to this series as easily as he did.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It was a time where Michael Norman Motorsports is running rookies in Oreo Truck Series and Mobile 1 and moving people up through the ranks.
Exactly.
So,
I remember Danica Shirley and Jessica Villanueva, a lot of drivers, Nick Pillardo.
Yep. That's what I wanted my team to be. As a 125.28 for Bob Jones puts him 6th so far on the board.
So good lap there for Bob Jones. Next up comes James Qualls in the 70. Now this is a guy who I think last season was very, very disappointed. James Qualls, he made his debut back in Season 6. In Season 7, he had 2 victories, and he finished 7th in the point standings. But last season, if there was no chase, James Qualls ran away with the championship. He was the highest running of 126 drivers in points. And he was not able to make the chase.
Wall.
Yeah, he just hit the pit wall there. That's one way, I guess, to scrub off some speed.
Yeah, but it's going to affect the arrowness of your car as well.
Not only that, but if he pushed in any of the sheet metal there on the left front, that could be some tire rub problems for him. Apparently his pit crew was able to get the car serviced, so maybe it didn't damage it that much, but you push that metal in, it can rub against those tires, and that's definitely going to kill your lap time. I don't know, though.
Wait and see if Qualls could pull this off. That's definitely a cheat. Not a cheat, but like, what do I want to say? Like a shortcut, a way of scrubbing off speed.
Kind of an unorthodox way of scrubbing off some speed, if you will.
Yeah.
Might work for him, though, as he's in his 3rd season here with ML Motorsports. James Qualls in the 70. As I said last season, now he was officially... oh, wait, I think I said he debuted back in Season 6. I apologize. He debuted in Season 8. Finished 12th in the point standings then. It was 13th overall last season because he did not have a win and did not make the chase. But this is looking pretty good, actually, right now, coming to the line. Ooh, that's going to maybe be in the 123s.
I think it's a 122.
And it's a 123.068, almost a 123 flat. We got a new pole sitter.
Yep, Qualls. So there you go. It's a one way to scrub off speed, hitting that inside wall. Now the question is, will this driver do that too?
Yeah, Chris Washer in the 35, back with...
That was Chris Washer. I just couldn't think of the name for a second.
Back with RGE BMW Racing, coming in this season with a 2-car team. Both of their entries actually in this event. As Dishwasher washes onto the pit road.
If I'm not mistaken, what all teams have teammates in the Sprint Unlimited?
Well, as far as I'm aware... Oh, Washer
he overdrove.
Yep. I think he tried using the James Qualls method, too. I think he tried to hit the pit wall a little bit there to scrub off some speed. Didn't scrub off enough. But from what I'm seeing here, it looks like we've got a couple of teammates that will be able to work together. Of course, your teammates, Dougie Shears, Bob Jones, along with yourself for Michael Norman Motorsports. We got Gibbs Waltrip Mayonnaise Racing with Kyle Sosnowski, Matthew Rodriguez, and Charles Jackson, as well as Tim Walsh. Hendrick Daly Motorsports got Kyle Matthews, Jacob Lawler, and Cole Daly. And then we've also got a couple of more teammates, Joshua Michaels, Chris Washer, as I mentioned, for RGE BMW Racing. Tweenix with Dylan Poteet and Danny Wells, as well as Sean Henley. Retro Racing Enterprises has Charles Sanfer and Jessica Shelton. And as far as I'm aware, I believe those are the only other teammates that we're going to have here. Oh, I also forgot to mention Trent Dunham also for Tweenix Racing, as well as Logan Wilson. So,
I know, we're all so used to him being for Sega Motorsports.
We are.
Which is really surprising.
It is. Yeah, Trent Dunham deciding to liquidate Sega Motorsports here for the final season and run for Tweenix Racing. We'll see how that works for him. I remember Trent Dunham back in Season 7 was a 3-time winner in Snickers Cup as Chris Washer comes down to complete his lap. Looks like it's going to be somewhere in the 125s. And a 125.426. That will put him 9th on the board. So that overshooting pit road, his pit box, that's going to cost him. Here's another of the Tweenix Racing entries. Logan Wilson in the 13. Now, the way Logan Wilson made it into this event was he was a former winner of the Sprint Unlimited. If I remember correctly, it was actually the very first Sprint Unlimited that he went to victory lane in. And also, talking about pit crews, the pit crew he's going to be coming down getting serviced by is actually Seth Cole's pit crew, the 52 car that will be running full-time. Will be servicing this 13 for this Sprint Unlimited event.
That's very good. That's a very good resource. It's resourceful.
So Logan Wilson looks like he pulled into his pit stall nicely. The only thing I question is it looked like he was a little conservative getting to his box. But we'll see how that's going to shape out for the Geico Chevrolet.
About a 15 to 16 second stop there.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is that none of the pit crews have dropped the ball yet today. I mean, obviously the Jackmans had a little bit of trouble getting under some of these cars when they flat spot their tires, but for the most part, I've not really seen any pit road mistakes by any of the crews.
No mistakes by the crews. It's all the mistakes are on the drivers pretty much for the style qualifying.
And this is such a unique qualifying thing because, you know, in all honesty, the portion right now of track that Logan Wilson is on, you know, maybe 1,000, 2,000th of a second difference will be made between drivers, but it's really that pit road section that is the key factor into whether or not you're going to be starting at the front or the back of this event. And it's so unusual that pit road plays such a key factor into a qualifying result.
About a 124 right there.
Maybe in the high 124s. Yep, 124.845. That's just enough to put him ahead of Trent Dunham and put him on the outside of row 3.
6th fastest so far. And here looks like a first of the Dodges.
Yep, the only Dodge, as a matter of fact, that is in this event. Driving the same ride that she put in victory lane in the Sprint Unlimited, Red Bell in the 19. Girlfriend to Trent Dunham in a one-off ride there.
How fitting driving a red car.
Yeah. This is a Dodge out of Team Thunder, the only team that's going to be running a Dodge this season with William Duncan, the owner. Red Bell and Trent Dunham approaching William, asking if he could field them a Dodge so Red could be able to take part in this event, and as we can see, he did indeed. Red Bell going to try and become the first ever 2-time Sprint Unlimited winner. We've never had a driver win this event 2 times in their career. We've had, this will be our 9th Sprint Unlimited, and we've had 8 different winners so far.
That is good. That means, who's the one winner? Who's won it twice?
Nobody.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm thinking you said 8 total. Or 9, this will be the 9th one, I forgot.
Right. We didn't have a Sprint Unlimited back in Season 1 because, obviously, nobody got a pole from the previous season.
Yeah, that's true. So, maybe, I want to almost bet and say that I think we might see a 2-time winner of the Sprint Unlimited after the race is over with.
One thing I can tell you, every single former winner of this event is in this Sprint Unlimited, so the odds are good, but a lot of drivers that really would like to be able to get Season 10 started off with a bang too and try and pick up their first career Sprint Unlimited victory, which would ironically be their last Sprint Unlimited victory. As at the line, That's about a high 124, maybe a low 125 for Red Bell. 125.269 for Red. And that puts her on the same row as her boyfriend, Trent Dunham. Irony.
I know, the irony there.
So, 8th quickest so far out of 16 drivers, Red Bell. That'll bring up Danny Wells in the 4, 3-time winner last season in Snickers Cup. And the season before that had a victory at this track, Daytona. It was the second visit to this racetrack, but Danny Wells last season was a contender for the championship up until the Final Four. And he was tied with Charles Sanford for the most wins in Season 9. Finished out the season last year with 7th in the point standings. He is the second of the Tweenix drivers to qualify for this event.
Very good entry to pit road there. I don't know if it might not be the fastest, but I know that was a very good entry to pit road. So I'm looking to see what he can do with his stop.
And by the way, I failed. He was the 4th Tweenix entry because we had also Trent Dunham and Logan Wilson that were already on track. Boy, I'm telling you what, it's going to be tough to, especially for Trent Dunham, to call him a Tweenix racing driver for me to remember that.
Yeah, I know.
That is going to be a difficult thing to do.
I completely agree with you on that one.
Danny Wells, pit service completed as he now leaves pit road. And, you know, I'm not the least bit surprised. You've seen when these drivers leave pit road, they're all hugging that yellow line, trying to find the fastest way around the racetrack here. So absolutely no surprise there.
I'm honestly surprised I haven't seen anybody go below the double yellow line because I'm pretty sure that's legal for qualifying.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I'm not certain why they wouldn't do that too. Although I did notice if we're going to use a little bit of a case in point, use Nathan Hudson. We saw him come off pit road using the apron, and we see where he qualified, so maybe there's not very much grip down there. You can see that kind of dark strip there through turns 3 and 4. That's where the drivers are running. There must be more tire rubber there, more grip, and thus create some faster lap times.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm surprised that you don't see him running down like on the straightaways, like on the back straight. 124.54 for Danny, gonna put him 5th fastest.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask you as a driver though. I mean, if you go down beneath that double yellow line, would that help you set up turn 3?
Well, yeah, because you're going to be down on the inside anyways. So, I mean, all you're doing is moving up above it just to stay down for turn 3 and 4.
Oh, good point. So, interesting. Nobody using that yet. It's Johnny Gardner up to bat in the number 10 Muppets of Valvoline Chevrolet out of Gardner Motorsports. Ooh, slides onto pit road there. Almost lost it. Johnny Gardner's only raced 2 seasons of Snickers Cup. Made his debut back in Season 3.
He's going way too fast.
Whoa! Overshot it, flat spotted the left front.
I am almost surprised that wasn't a disqualification.
Yeah, that was awfully close. I'm surprised he's still able to be serviced.
It might as well be because I think he flat spotted both side tires.
Man, there you see slow on the jack on the left side.
Yeah, it was slow on the right side as well. So yeah, this is just a horrible pit stop for Johnny.
Man, overshot the pit stall, then flat spotted the tire, and then when he backed up, he was too far back, had to move back up again. So boy, that's really going to hurt his lap time for sure. Very disappointing there for Johnny Gardner. As I was saying, his first season was Season 3, 89th in points, and then he made his return last season, finished 98th in the point standings, looking for a much better season, but didn't start it off too well with that pit stop for sure.
No, he's already at 1 minute down the back, just hitting the back straightaway. So yeah, he's definitely going to be the slowest of the race cars.
I think that's track. I think from where I saw him on the racetrack as compared to Kyle Matthews, who currently has the slowest lap time, that was about maybe 2 seconds slower than what Kyle Matthews was at the point when he was on the back straightaway. So yeah, this is going to be a very disappointing run here for Johnny Gardner. The lucky thing for him is that he didn't wreck the car, but he is probably going to have to start at the rear of the field. He comes to the line, boy, 133, 134 maybe.
Yeah, 134-1.
Yep. Boy, that's a tough break there. By the way, folks, the reason that's a David Rudiman 10, I couldn't find the Johnny Benson number 10 for some reason for the banner, so yeah. Charles Jackson in the number 54, former Snickers Cup Series champion, won the championship back in Season 6. Made the move over to Gibbs Waltrip Mayonnaise Racing. They were somewhat successful last season, but this 54 team really was not. ended up finishing out the season 115th in the point standings. And so Charles, one of the first Toyotas on the racetrack now. We'll see what he can do. And, I think he just flat spotted the left front. And he overshoots it too.
Oh, Charles.
Looks like he pulled it back into his pit stall, though, but it's not going to be a good lap time for him. And Charles Jackson actually made his debut back in Season 3. However, his alter ego, Jack Richards, made his debut back in Season 2. So if we're going to take the two alter egos, put them together, Charles Jackson actually has been in this sport since Season 2, just not under the name Charles Jackson.
Yeah, that's how it's always been.
So now they complete his pit stall. He pulls away, and I think he will at least be faster than Johnny Gardner, because when he overshot his pit box, he got back into his pit box when he reversed. He didn't have to pull back up again, so...
I still think this will probably be third to last, if I'm not mistaken. He'll probably either beat Poteet, or he'll probably be right behind, or right after Poteet.
It'll be really close, I think, between him and Matthews. The two of them kind of tracking pretty similar at this point, so we'll see whether Jackson will start next to last or third to last, as you just said. Certainly not the kind of run that he was looking for here, but Charles Jackson, if I remember correctly, he's a former Snickers Cup Series winner here at Daytona, too, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
At the stripe, 130-something, yeah, I think. 130.4. And
yep,
that's
third to last.
Yep, just ahead of Kyle Matthews, just behind Dylan Poteet. So Charles Jackson will be starting somewhere, I would guess, near the rear of the field. And up comes his teammate, Tim Walsh, in the 15. So we'll see if Tim can do better than his teammate Charles Jackson did. Tim Walsh ran in Season 3 for his debut, finished 7th. Season 4, he finished 4th. Season 5 was 35th, but then 6th in Season 6. And last season, he was 12th. So he's had some pretty good numbers here whenever he's raced in the Snickers Cup.
15 car making a very good hasty entry to pit road, hits his marks. He might have been just a little conservative.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, you think about it, too. I mean, right now, there were two drivers that really overdrove it getting onto pit road. So, you know, I don't really blame Tim Walsh for being conservative there. At least try and qualify your way into the top 10 for the starting grid.
I also just want to say this as well, that this is actually one of the rare first times you ever get to see the pit crew actually service the race car.
That's a good point, yeah. Very rarely are you able to see that happen. So, pit crew getting a little bit of TV time here in the beginning of Season 10. Looks like it was a good pit stop for Tim Walsh. I don't think this is tracking around James Quall's lap time. I'm not sure anybody can beat James Quall's lap time. I mean, he almost ran a 123 flat.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to get the pit road, like, incredibly fast.
So right now, it stands as James Quall's Dylan Young to be the front row, but you still got some more entries to come. Little more than 10 more entries still to go here as Tim Walsh exits out of 4. We'll come to the start-finish line. Doesn't look like it hit the 123s, but I think it'll be somewhere in the low 124s, perhaps. And 124.4, so that's going to set him up into the top 5.
Very good run for Tim.
Next up, going to be Chris Washer's teammate, Joshua Michaels. And I was surprised to look back. Joshua Michaels has actually been in this series since Season 3. He made his debut in Season 3, finished 48th in the points. Then he took a season off in Season 4, but since Season 5, he's raced every single season. He's been in a Dodge, he's been in a Chevy, we see him now in a BMW. He's been all over the place.
Yeah, that's the one thing though. You want to stick with a manufacturer you like, but with him being all over the place, apparently he has yet to find one that he likes.
I think the last 2 seasons he's run with BMWs. This is his 3rd straight season with this team.
Well, I guess he enjoys the BMW then.
I think so. Season 8. He had a victory at Sonoma, and I'm trying to remember where he won last season in Season 9. I want to say Atlanta, but I'm not certain. It was one of those D-shaped mile-and-a-half racetracks. So this season, going to try and see if he can pick up yet another victory. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, too, I think that he has, for the last 4 seasons, won at least one race. The first season, it was in the Danica Patrick 10. The next season, it was in the Scott Riggs 10 Dodge. And then, of course, Season 8, Season 9 in the 04 BMW. So he's trying to continue on a streak that he's had going for the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to.
And he's got a pretty good teammate in Chris Washer, who was a 2-time winner last season when he drove for RG BMW Racing. So these two could be quite a duo to watch here in Speed Weeks if they can find each other and maybe work together. Because one of Washer's wins actually last season came at Talladega Superspeedway, as at the line, about a mid-124 it looks like for Joshua Michaels. 124.942. That'll put him into the top 10 in 9th.
Yep, the only question remains is will he be able to stay there?
Next up, it's the defending champion, Brandon Gonzalez in the 23. The Mitsubishi Lancer is back, and a very simple-looking paint scheme on his machine. Furniture Row on the hood, of course, the sponsor that was on his 78 when he picked up his very first career Snickers Cup Series win at Talladega. And on the side panels, just a very simple phrase saying, "Because I said I would." He said he was going to win the championship last season, and he delivered. And we'll see what the champ can do here. Well, it looks like he just short-stopped there. Has to move up to his pit board, so it's like maybe the champ may not be starting on the front row for the Sprint Unlimited.
No, but like I said, starting up front isn't always where you want to be.
Brandon Gonzalez has had a very salt and pepper career in Snickers Cup. He made his debut back in Season 1, then took an off-season, raced in Season 3, and then wasn't seen until Season 8, when he ended up finishing 34th, and then, of course, last season, picking up his very first career Snickers Cup Series championship, and also putting Mitsubishi Lancer in championship victory lane for the very first time since they debuted back in Season 8.
As a driver, don't bring that up. That's a painful memory.
Hey, you get revenge against this guy for this season.
Yep. That, ironically, though, is like I think the closest I've ever been, or the second time I've ever been close to a championship in any NR series. I've raced it.
Wow.
Sean Henley, Season 2, I was in the hunt for a title. And then now, Season 9, the Snickers Cup, I was the closest I've ever been.
Brandon Gonzalez going to come down, complete his lap time. Looks like it's going to be in the 126s or something there.
I'll definitely tell you, though, winning a championship is no easy task. And it can put a lot of pressure on you.
And I would think for the following season, I mean, you've kind of set a standard for yourself. It's going to kind of be hard to meet up to that.
Absolutely.
Pitcrew London on track, former Mobile One Cup Series champion, but he has not had very much success here in the Snickers Cup Series, running the number 22 Pennzoil Ford for TA2 Racing. Pitcrew London made his debut all the way back in Season 3. He raced also in Season 4 and 5, took an off season, raced in Season 7, and then last season finished 66th in Season 9 when he drove the 16 Toyota. So we'll see what he can do here. And, oh, I think he just flat spotted the left front.
Costly mistakes.
He made his pit box, but he did flat spot the tire. This is such an unusual season, too, especially concerning the Penske-related Fords, because Dylan Young is driving the 2 for Young Motorsports, but the 22 is running, and it's not his teammate. It's Pitcrew London's team of TA2 Racing. And then, to add a little bit more irony to it, the 99 of Levi McIntyre, which is not in this event, but he's a teammate to the 2 of Young Motorsports for Season 10, so that's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, yes, definitely it is. Whatever happened to Heavy Metal Motorsports?
Heavy Metal Motorsports apparently also, just like Sega Motorsports, kind of folded up. And I think a big reason why that was, too, is because here with this final season, you know, it wasn't as much about finding development drivers and anything now. It's just about getting the right equipment to be able to try and be in contention for a championship. And I kind of think that might be what Levi McIntyre and Trent Dunham were looking for when both of them decided to close down their companies.
That is very, very true.
Levi McIntyre, of course, last season had a very successful business with Heavy Metal Hip Hop Racing, as every one of his drivers went to victory lane. One of them went to victory lane twice. And Pichu London a 127 something looks like. No, 126.8. That'll put him on the same row as Brandon Gonzalez. 16th fastest on the scoring monitor.
8 drivers left, and here comes the 03. Yep, 03 of I can't remember. Wow, I have horrible names. I think I'm turning into you.
Charles Sanford.
There it is. Yep.
Charles Sanford, who
Stop
tied.
rubbing off on me, Seth.
You're getting old like me, Michael. Charles Sanford, who tied Danny Wells for. That was close.
Wow, and if he can hold that, this is going to definitely be a good.
A very interesting entry. That was almost
Oh,
right up
made
next to the commitment line.
Yeah, but that's carrying a lot of speed there, and he made it right into his pit stall. Now the question is, if he didn't hesitate,
It all depends on how much brake he used after that start-finish line. But Sanford, 3-time winner last season, tied Danny Wells for the most wins in Season 9. As a matter of fact, when he made the move to Retro Racing Enterprises, just something seemed to come alive in that car, and he was actually a contender for the championship with you at Zenjoltis last season as well. And also a former Daytona 500 winner, so we got to keep that in mind as well. Sanford made his debut in Snickers Cup back in Season 4, where he finished 105th in the standings. But then he made his return back in Season 7, where he finished 9th, the following season 20th, and of course last season 4th in the overall standings when he was in the chase for the championship. So Charles Sanford definitely trying to come in here with a head of steam and try and be a contender again for the second straight season for the championship.
Yeah. Gosh, when you always finish 104, that just seems like so low in a point standing.
It does, it really does, but when you think about the fact that basically it's out of 126 drivers, I mean, someone's got to finish somewhere. 123.385, third fastest for Charles Sanford for the first time in quite a bit. We're actually seeing somebody make a challenge for a spot in the top 5.
Here comes number 88, Nationwide Chevy for Hendrick Gallery Motorsports at his guest, that is Cole Daly. And the 88 car, I have driven that 88 car one season, and it was probably the worst season I've had in Snickers Cup Series history, except for the win I had in the All-Star race.
Number of drivers that actually have contended for championships have actually been in that 88 yourself, Anthony McCurry, and also Aaron Williams Jr. So a lot of names in that 88 machine. Cole Daly been in that ride, though, for the last 3 seasons. Daly made his debut in Snickers Cup back in Season 4. And actually, Cole Daly's been one of the few drivers that the spotlight has not really gone on. But for 2 seasons, Season 4 and Season 5, he was actually, Season 5 and Season 6, he was a big contender for the championship, finished 3rd and 2nd in overall standings. So Cole Daly going to definitely try and channel some of his early success here into this season. As I mentioned before, when his teammate Kyle Matthews was running, Matthews was the only one from this team to go to victory lane, but Hendrick Daly Motorsports coming in with the same team they had last season. One exception, though, the 84 of Benjamin Miles joining their group, so we'll have to see if Hendrick Daly Motorsports can kind of get their old mojo back, because one thing about them that I remember back from Season 8 was they came in with a 5-car team, and every single one of those cars, with the exception of Cody Lamas, went to victory lane.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to. You know, Cole's had his fair share of good luck in that 88 car as well. So, yeah, so even with Season 10 being the last season, we'll have to see what the 88 team can bring home today. Ooh, that has to be at least 3rd or 4th.
That was pretty close there, and a 123.649. That was just about maybe 3/10 slower than Charles Sanford's lap, and that'll put him 4th on the board. So a nice run there by Cole Daly in the 88.
Boy, do I love Cole. This is great.
So next up, it's going to actually be Cole Daly's teammate, Jacob Lawler, who kind of has a bit of a long repertoire list, just like Charles Sanford did. Jacob Lawler, of course, won the championship back in Season 7. He also was a former Daytona 500 winner back in Season 4. That was one of the most unusual Daytona 500 finishes that we had here in Snickers Cup. And also, Jacob Lawler's been in this sport since Season 2, so Jacob Lawler, a well-seasoned veteran of the Snickers Cup Series. And
Overshot his pit stall.
Yep. So that's going to cost Jacob Lawler there.
I saw he was carrying too much speed there. I knew that was going to happen.
I know it's really late in the qualifying session, but I mean that's concrete there that these pit stalls are. It's got to be much difficult to brake on that surface rather than on this racing surface the rest of the way around the track.
Yeah.
So Jacob Lawler definitely not going to be able to at least keep pace with his teammate Cole Daly. I think he might still be okay as far as his lap time to maybe be somewhere in the top 15, but this is obviously not the run that he was looking for sure. Yeah, right now he's tracking, I'd say, maybe about 2 seconds slower than the leader at the current moment, James Qualls, so will not be a challenge for the pole position. We'll have to see if he'll be any challenge for the top 10, which at the current moment is Qualls, Young, then Sanford Daly, McCrory, Sosnowski, Walsh and Wells, Pollard, and Wilson. We'll see if maybe Lawler will make any challenge for that. Going to run just around the 125s, I think, and a 125.9. And that's going to situate him in the inside of row number 9.
Number 8, U.S. Army Chevrolet.
Yeah, a little bit of a last-minute thing put together here. Now, I said that Sega Motorsports consolidated, and they did. However, some of their cars were given over to Tweenix Racing, and one of them was actually used for this driver. Isaac Canepa, who drove for Sega Motorsports for the last 2 seasons, the defending winner of this race, as a matter of fact, in the U.S. Army Chevrolet. We'll see what he'll be able to do, as he'll try and go for back-to-back Sprint Unlimited wins, and he just overshot his stall.
Yep, I can clearly tell as soon as it changed his camera that he was going to be too fast on that one.
This is actually the Tweenix Racing pit crew of James McLeod that is servicing his car for this race. So Tweenix has got quite a few drivers that are going to be in this event, so I mean Tweenix maybe might have the upper hand. One thing I've noticed in Sprint Unlimited, and it's so ironic too, is it's like the driver that you least expect is going to win ends up winning the race.
I know, that's very, very weird.
So I know it's too early to make any picks really, but if you were to look at a driver here that might have the odds stacked against them, who would you think would be that one driver that might be the one to watch in the race?
It's honestly hard to tell because you never know what can happen at Daytona. So, out of the Sprint Unlimited, I will actually keep my eye on that number 8 car.
Coming through turn 4, Isaac Canepa going to be rolling off in what will be his final Snickers Cup Series start, as he's not running full-time in Season 10. Hits the stripe somewhere around mid-125s, it looks like. 125.669. Just a little bit faster, a tick faster than Jacob Lawler. And now he and Lawler are both sitting on row number 9. Next up
Final
is
4
Sean
cars
Henley.
here. Sean Henley, 57 for Tweenix.
Henley, a former champion in the Snickers Cup Series. Made his debut back in Season 3. Season 4 won the championship. Season 5, he finished 2nd. Season 6, he finished 11th. 7, he was 2nd. 8, he was 9th. And Season 9, he was 11th. So he has finished in the top 11 in 6 of his 7 seasons here in Snickers Cup.
Yeah, I do agree. It's Henley has been quite on a roll lately as he overshoots his pit stall big time.
I think he flat spotted that left front as well. And Sean Henley was actually, there was a lot of rumors at the beginning of last season that Henley was not even going to run in Season 9. And this was a car that actually was put together for that Season 9 as to be his swan song car, his final season. It's the number 57 Last Call Chevrolet. But it was announced that he was going to still be running in Season 9, and so they kind of put that car back in the garage area, stored it away, and here he is running it now here in the final season of Season 10 of the Snickers Cup.
Yep, this is going to be a very special tribute season to the NNSCRA Snickers Cup Series, and we'll see if Sean Henley can see. We'll be able to see. I'm excited to see who's going to win the final Snickers Cup Series championship.
Yeah, it's going to really come down to the wire, I'm pretty sure. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the current poll results, they are wanting the old chase format to come back that we had from Season 9 with the 16 drivers in the elimination rounds. But, you know, like you said, a lot of drivers running tribute schemes and stuff based on their careers here in NNSCRA. We see Henley, you yourself, running number 3 with a lot of sponsors that you had, including the Denny Hamlin FedEx-looking paint scheme that you drove back in your debut here in this series.
Yes, I did, and I'm very, very glad to have that ride put together for me, and special tribute to Youssef and the NNSCRA.
So Sean Henley, pretty slow time there, a 1:29 it looked like, and now Matthew Rodriguez in the number 18, making his final Snickers Cup Series start. Matthew Rodriguez
didn't see him in season 9.
Nope. He raced seasons 1 through 6, and he's been in every Sprint Unlimited, of course, because he's a former winner of this event. But Matthew Rodriguez...
Oh, the 18 car, I don't like that speed.
No, he's got to slow it down there. Well...
Ooh, shot a little too shy.
Yeah, he I think if he had rolled it to the pit board, he might have been okay. But he kind of almost slowed it down a little too much, and then just had to kind of crawl to the 18 pit sign. So that might cost him here, but still, he did get into his pit box, so he'll have at least a somewhat decent time as now he leaves pit road. Matthew Rodriguez, best career he had, best career season was season 3, where he finished 16th in the point stands, but really never been a contender for the championship. Of course, not running full-time this season. This will be his final Snickers Cup Series start here in this season's Sprint Unlimited.
What kind of time he'll be able to get?
Matthew Rodriguez, actually a two-time NSRA champion. He won the championship in both trucks and in mobile, but never won it in Snickers Cup, so he's had a pretty good career in other NSRA series, but Snickers Cup's just been that Achilles heel for him, so he would love to also put his name in the history books as a two-time Sprint Unlimited winner and be the only driver to do that. We'll see what he's going to have for a lap time here. I'd say somewhere maybe around the 124s, I think. Maybe the early 125s. 125.1. And that's going to put him up in the 13th position.
Final 2 cars, and here comes the first of the 2.
Lyndon Wright for WR Racing. Now, Lyndon Wright, I was actually really surprised. I thought Lyndon Wright had a much bigger Snickers Cup Series career than he actually did. Lyndon Wright made his debut back in Season 4, and then never returned again until last season in Season 9. He's only run 2 Snickers Cup Series seasons. This will be his 3rd full-time season in Snickers Cup. So Lyndon Wright, our winner from Watkins Glen last season, we'll see what he can do here in the final season of Snickers Cup, but I was really surprised to find that out. I'm trying to remember if maybe he ran more seasons in Mobile 1, and that's why I remember his name from past seasons or something, but only 2 seasons he ran in Snickers Cup Series.
Yeah, and not a lot, too. It's surprising to see him come back for the final season.
And Lyndon Wright, I mean, we know that car is obviously fast, because in the practice session, which these drivers used to qualify for this race, Lyndon Wright was 2nd fastest, and it was very difficult for anybody to even match his lap time, let alone the guy that we'll see rolling off here last, Ryan Acosta, who had the fastest lap time. So we know that 81 car is fast in the draft. It all just depends on where he's going to qualify here for this Sprint Unlimited. Looks like his lap time tracking somewhat similar to Matthew Rodriguez's, as a matter of fact, here.
Yeah, heading straight down the back straightaway.
See if either Lyndon Wright or the last driver up, Ryan Acosta, will make any bid for the top 10. Right now, that 10th spot being held by Logan Wilson in 13. As they come down to the stripe here, does Lyndon... Ooh, I'm not sure.
I don't think he got a 123. I know it was a 124.
Yeah, 124.
124.6.
But it was enough. Enough to get a top 10. He was 9th fastest. So now Logan Wilson gets shuffled out of the top 10.
The final car to go out on track, the 16. Can't tell the sponsor. I forgot what the sponsor was. Ortho Ford Fusion.
That's Ryan Acosta. Yep, Ryan Acosta actually, he's run 4 full-time seasons in Snickers Cup. He made his debut back in Season 2. Season 3, he was 5th. Season 4, he was 5th in the standings. And then last season, he was 122nd. Put that in perspective, folks. Only 128 drivers drove last season, so...
Oh, he overshot.
Yep, overshot his pit stall there. So Acosta, fastest in the practice session, not going to be the fastest here in the qualifying session, obviously. See where he actually comes out as far as the qualifying results here. But, as I said, 4 full-time seasons, but the Acosta family has been in the Snickers Cup Series for a number of seasons besides that, with drivers such as Jasmine Acosta as well as John Acosta, who actually, as I recall one time, was a former chaser in the Snickers Cup Series. So the Acosta family's been in the Snickers Cup pretty much since Season 2.
I also guess it's safe to say with that little mess up there that it's safe to say that Qualls will be the pole sitter for the Sprint Unlimited.
Yeah, James Qualls. I'm honestly not surprised, because after that lap time, almost a 123 flat, I didn't see any possibility of anybody else being able to beat him. It's ironic, too, because, as we said, he used that unorthodox method of scraping against the pit wall to scrub off speed. Nobody else after that really seemed to try and use that to be able to challenge the lap time.
That's true. Let's see where it's going to put him.
See where Ryan Acosta is going to be in this Sprint Unlimited. It's the line, boy, that's going to be maybe the low 125s. 125.254, that's going to situate him on the inside of row number 8 in the 15th position. So, that is how they're going to line up here for this race. James Qualls will be starting on the pole position. Dylan Young will be starting alongside of him. Very interesting front row.
Yes, I could say so myself. It's very, very interesting front row, and I saw that I did get shuffled around to about the middle of the field, which is okay, because if I can't get up to the front, then I'll probably just go to the back. But very interesting front row for all of these, I think, what do you say, 31 drivers?
That's right.
They're all 31 drivers in this field. That's the biggest field, I think, that the Sprint Unlimited has ever had.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think that is the biggest field, and as we look at the rest of the qualifying results, a lot of big names down there at the bottom of the list. Sean Henley, Dylan Pote, Charles Jackson, Kyle Matthews, and of course Johnny Gardner, the only one with a 1.34 lap time. Had a lot of mistakes there on his run, but it's Daytona, a lot of time to work your way up to the front, and of course the Tweenix drivers, Henley and Pote, will be able to work together there at the rear of the field as well. So, thank you all so much for watching this qualifying session. Michael, I want to thank you for your insights here as commentator and driver. Wish you luck in the Sprint Unlimited race. I know that you guys still have another happy hour session before you get that race going, but good luck to you.
Well, thank you so much, man. I always enjoy coming out here. So thank you so much for the good lucks, and hopefully I'll be in victory lane.
All right, so James Qualls wins today's qualifying session. He'll start on the pole for the Sprint Unlimited. Dylan Young will start alongside of him. Next up for the Snickers Cup Series drivers will be happy hour practice, where these drivers will be able to fine-tune their cars and get them all set for the next event, which of course will be the 9th annual Sprint Unlimited. After that, of course, we have everything setting up for the Daytona 500, including pole day qualifying and the Gatorade Duels. So I hope you'll tune in as Speed Weeks at Daytona continues here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel. Offline racing at its best.